Sometimes you come across a connection that's so deep, it completely changes who you are. Well, that is the very heart of Dheeraj Singh's memoir, My Last Word. It's this incredibly personal story about a love that doesn't just happen to you, it actually defines everything that comes after.
And really, the subtitle says it all. This isn't just some simple love story. Nope. It's a journey we've all been on, in one way or another. Through those amazing highs of connection, the absolute gut punch of loss, and then that really tough but necessary journey of figuring out who you are on the other side. So, this brings us to the core question of the whole thing. We're about to meet Rahul and Shreya, and their love story seems pretty perfect. But it's about to run smack into an obstacle that feels impossible, which makes you wonder, what happens when love just isn't enough? Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story starts at Mumbai University, a huge, sprawling campus where two people who couldn't be more different are about to have their worlds collide in a way they never saw coming. So, at the center of all this, you've got these two people. On one hand, there's Rahul. He's the quiet one, the observer, totally happy just being in the background. And then you have Shreya. She's just full of life, laughter, the person everyone's drawn to at a party. It's that classic opposites attract scenario, and you can feel the chemistry right away. But their connection wasn't some big, instant explosion. It was more of a slow burn, built through all these little moments in college. From that very first quiet meeting, to Shreya teasingly calling him the lone wolf of the canteen, to them winning a ramp walk together, and then sharing their first, kind of surprising hug on stage. Each one of these was another little thread pulling them closer. So after college, you know how it is, life happens. They went in different directions for a bit, but some bonds are just too strong to fade. And when they finally got back in touch, that really solid friendship was just ready to bloom into something so much more. And there was this one trekking trip that became the real turning point. It wasn't about some grand, dramatic gesture. It was all these small, perfect things. The first time they held hands, him passing her an earbud so they could listen to a love song together, taking this blurry selfie that, as Shreya said later, held the best memories because it wasn't perfect. And all of that leads to this late-night phone call. And it's Shreya who, with just so much courage and vulnerability, finally says the words that have been sitting right there between them for years. What a huge moment. And after what I'm sure was a totally sleepless night for both of them, Rahul says it back. He tells her what she probably already knew deep down, and just like that, their love story officially kicks off. But right when their future seems so bright, so clear, a massive shadow just falls over everything. They're about to face a test that could honestly shatter everything they've built together. All of a sudden, they were up against a challenge that their love, just by itself, might not be strong enough to overcome. And that was the immense, unshakable weight of family and tradition. And Shreya, well, she shows her commitment in a really big way. Her family gets one of those formal, traditional marriage proposals for her, and she shuts it down. She turns it down flat, making it crystal clear that her future is with Rahul. But this moment of hope, it just gets completely destroyed. When Rahul finally tells his family about her, his uncle delivers this incredibly harsh, insulting rejection. And the rest of the family sides with the uncle. That wall between Rahul and Shreya just went from being invisible to being made of concrete. And that brutal rejection from his family, well, it kicks off this heartbreaking chain reaction that begins the slow, really painful unraveling of their entire relationship. And you can see exactly how it all just fell apart, one gut-wrenching step at a time. It started with one decision, Rahul deleting their shared email, packed with memories, because he thought he was protecting her. That led to a huge misunderstanding. And from there, the silence just starts to creep in until a solid wall is standing where their connection used to be. And then, that silence is just shattered in the worst way you can imagine. A single photo on social media reveals the absolute devastating truth. Shreya got married. You can literally see the growing distance in their communication. I mean, what started as those instant, happy replies stretched into hours. And then, in the final months, it became an agonizing wait of 4 or 5 days just for a single short response. The connection was just starving to death. And if there was any tiny little piece of hope still flickering in Rahul's heart, it was completely snuffed out when he learned that she was starting a family of her own. That was it. the final, irreversible proof that her life had moved on without him. So, at the end of the day, this isn't a story with a traditional happily ever after. Not even close. It's a story about acceptance, really, and about a love that continues to exist just as powerfully in memory. In the end, Rahul is just left with this profound, deep regret. But, and this is so important, we need to understand what he regrets. It wasn't loving Shreya. Never. It was the choices he made when he was under all that pressure, the moments he didn't fight harder for them. That's what cost him everything. And this quote just captures it all perfectly. He comes to realize that even though his decisions led to so much pain, the love itself was never, ever a mistake. Actually, it was the single thing that shaped him into the person he became. So the story really leaves us with this big question to ask ourselves. Does a love story have to last forever to be meaningful? Is the value all in the happily ever after, or is it in how the journey changes you long after it's over? And that is the memoir's final, powerful message, that even from the deepest, most painful loss, a new chapter always begins. It's a bittersweet, for sure, but ultimately hopeful end to a love story that'll stick with you for a long time.